Lo so che non ne potrete più, ma vi toccherà.
Well, I would like to ask you to just have enough patience to listen to me for a few more minutes' time. Positive economy. We have another contributing factor of wealth, and that is this wonderful moment of time to hand out the major awards that were created by the woodworking shop here in San Petriano. They were sculpted, handcrafted. It's very high quality work, and we thank them for this, not only for having realized these amazing awards for the effort that they made, but also because those who are going to take them home will really have enhanced meaning in this award that they will receive. So this award this evening, these awards this evening, we are giving them to those people who have spent their entire lives working for and towards everything that they're doing, everything that they have dedicated to working towards social endeavors, culture, entrepreneurship, companies that contributing to well-being. So this is an extremely important moment for us. We are celebrating the fact that these people are creating not just profit, but something more than that, well-being. And that's not something that should be taken for granted. And so these people that are here tonight have been doing this over the course of a life. And one person in particular is really encouraging us to continue to grow in this direction. So we made the decision to give this award to this individual, but not only to give them a special meaning. We want the entire Positive Economy Forum that has been here for 3 years now in San Petriano, 3 years running. We want this to be an example, and those that are going to be receiving the awards tonight, these individuals are people that have served as an example as well. So that's the meaning here, really. This forum is an example, these people are an example. Every single day, you are working so hard. Again, we have another example of positive economy, so well-being for people. A place in which people, men, women who have had a difficult period of life have learned a way to find passion and enthusiasm again. And so we thank you for this amazing commitment, and it is of such importance to us. It is contributing to our ability to have renewed joy in life. So San Patriano is such an open place. It's not just a community that is closed, and here in this moment we can feel it really as something that is opened, an extraordinary community in which the world comes to find us. And that is, I think, something of great honor to you, that you, through your efforts, you have been able to make this possible. As such a wonderful honor to all, those who work here, those who are part of the community, the young men and women, and it is another confirmation of the greatness of this community in San Petrignano. That is why this evening, we will have the members of the community up here to bestow the awards on the laureates. This award is dedicated to those who are working to these very principles and values, and specifically to what we, and I say we specifically, because we, and I am, and we are, I am and will always be a young man from San Petriano. I will always be that, and I will always feel that. So I would appreciate your applause for this. So thank you very much. The first award this evening, and I would like to call the first laureate to join us up here on the stage, Antonella Antonelli. Would you please join us, along with Elizabeth? Yeah.
per aver dato
for having created, through the establishment of the Circle of Oxfam Italia, a network of prominent women from various sectors who support Oxfam's projects to help women living in poverty all over the world thanks to their own ideas, competence, and resources. For having embodied in her work the motto, "Be outraged, be moved, and be a part of change," in supporting the recognition of women's rights and promoting women's access to resources such as land and food, education, educational services, and credit as essential elements for the development of humankind. For her commitment to an integrated approach to development programs, emergency intervention, public campaigns, and educational initiatives to improve the living conditions of thousands of people in the world, allowing them to exercise their rights and to build a decent future, overcoming injustice. Congratulations.
Grazie.
Thank you.
Allora, grazie.
I should like to thank you to the forum, thank you to Letizia Moratti. On behalf of all of the women of the Circle of Oxfam Italia, we are very honored to receive this award. Over the course of the last 6 years, we have been doing great work. It's been a very enriching experience, and thank you very much for having brought me here personally to this community, because you have introduced me to a world that I knew from the outside, and I'm so happy to know it from the inside. And thank you to you, young and women, for this award.
Allora, io
I should like to thank you and speak by quoting Anna Lennox, who was the founder of the Circle of Oxfam Italia. Be outraged, be moved, and be part of change. These are the words that motivated us. The Circle is a network of women. Through their activities, they are able to assist women who face challenging circumstances around the world. It was founded in England after a meeting with Nelson Mandela in South Africa, and then was brought to Italy by me and Livia Fert, because we wanted Italy to be the first country after England to have a chance to experiment with this amazing experience. Women come from all different walks of life: art, culture, publications, and they have ideas and passion to fight poverty and social injustice as well as gender violence through communication and awareness raising. The commitment that we have in terms of fundraising and the awareness-raising campaigns, as well as our outreach, are carried out through our network at Circle of in Italia, through the social networks, Facebook, Twitter, and we have specific guidelines that we followed always. Two major directions: by the Circle and powered by the Circle. The Circle is an idea that is organized and promoting projects powered by the Circle. This means that women in the Circle use their skills to be able to support associations and other third-party organizations. Obviously, but not so obviously at times, the work that is being done by the women in the Circle is fully volunteer work, so they receive no retribution for it. Since 2010, we have established a very strong and powerful network. Within the Circle, we have many women, hundreds even, across the Italian territory. There are debates that are held, many women that have taken part in our meetings. These women have then become a part of solidarity campaigns. Some of the circles that are follow subjects, for example, design and fashion circles. Perhaps this evening, through this forum, there would be a new one that would be opened, a forum for positive economy that would exist within our Circle. This would be a dream for us because we always are looking to enlarge in our Circle. Since 2012, we have been committed to working in organization for fundraising in the Women's Circle for events. With Annie Lennox, for the purposes of Oxfam, we have raised many funds for this purpose. Since 2015, the Circle in Italy has been recognized as an independent artist. We continue to exchange with the Circle in the United Kingdom, as well as other circles around the world. In 2015, with the Guest Foundation Europa, we made it possible through our collaboration with Peace Over Violence in Los Angeles to bring this project Damning Day into Italy. It is an awareness-raising campaign, a day where we focus on fighting gender violence. It is a fundraising exercise. These funds go to the Italian Association, where we fight gender violence and violence against women. In 2016, we continued our projects both in Italy and abroad. Not only a campaign on meritocracy. This was a program that we worked on with Fox Life. A number of different videos and interviews that included Livia Firth and Beatrice Sardi, a number of different women that are well known in Italy. So this was a media campaign, but not only, a fundraising campaign that brought 40,000 euros for Made in Italy, an association that bolsters work being done within the penitentiary system in Italy. The goal is to establish professional laboratories in 6 penitentiaries around Italy. This evening is so important for me. To be here is a real acknowledgement of what I have done. Women are a driving force of change. The Circle believes in rights as well as promoting access to land, education, and credit. This is extremely important for the development of every single country around the world. You know all of the statistics, so I won't run through them with you, but I do want to emphasize how important our activities are, how much still is left to be done. Women need more access to education and to credit. They need empowerment. It is a fundamental source for economic growth in a country. There are a number of different challenges that we face, and the governments must rise to them, including the aging population, the depletion of our natural resources, as well as the wealth gap that exists between developed and less developed countries, and that is something that is accentuated when it comes to women. The only way that we will be able to rise to these challenges is to remove all of the cultural barriers that mean that women are not able to be a part of the social and economic life of the countries. The most prosperous countries of the world are the best in this area. So removing all of these barriers in terms of participation of women in the economy would increase the GDP in a number of countries like the US, Japan, and the European countries by somewhere between 9 and 16%. Women make up 43% of the workforce in agriculture around the world. They make an essential contribution. Nonetheless, they have less access to land, and a consequence of that is that they are not able to invest and find new economic opportunities. Less than 20% of women are landowners. Less than 20% of landowners around the world are women. So it's difficult for them to have access to land. The FAO believes that if women had the same access to productive measures, they would be able to increase the efficiency of land use by some 30%. So in developing countries, that would increase GDP by 2.5 and 4%, and it would also decrease hunger around the world from 12 to 7%. So that would be a significant decrease indeed. We all need to assist women to have access to education, and young girls as well, to break down the cultural barriers that we have inherited from the past so that they can be a part of our economy, not only for their economic contribution, but so that we can improve our societies as a whole. When women have an access to these things and they are a driving force of our economy, everyone benefits. We in our circle are working for that purpose every single day, and as Annie says, We need to consistently be a part of that change as well as speak out against this. Thank you very much.
Facciamo delle foto, vieni. Sì. Certo. Lì al centro. Prego. Sì, sono delle foto. Ecco. Un applauso a tutte le donne.
A round of applause for all of the women, please.
E a tutte le ragazze di San Patrignano.
And to all of the women here in San Patriano.
E adesso, ragazzi,
Now, another very important moment. It's an important one, a somber one, for a lifetime of commitment internationally towards an open community. San Patriano is so pleased and honored to have Kerry Kennedy with us, who is going to receive the award from Thomas. Please join me on the stage.
For having founded the Robert F. Kennedy Memorial Center for Human Rights, and thereby contributed to guaranteeing the protection of rights sanctioned by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, providing a real basis for supporting the defense of human rights all over the world. For her work on human rights-related issues such as the rights of children, child labor, disappearances, indigenous land rights, judicial independence, freedom of expression, ethnic violence, immunity, corporate social responsibility, the environment, and health. For having particularly concentrated on women's rights, highlighting injustices, and educating the public on women's issues such as honor killings, sexual slavery, domestic violence, workplace discrimination, sexual assault, and detainee abuse. For her many decades of commitment to the attainment of social justice, the promotion and protection of universal justice, and the safeguarding of the rule of law. It's an honor to present to you Kerry Kennedy.
Grazie. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here today, and I really thank you, Antonio, for your work and for your commitment. And Gianmarco and Letizia, where are you? There you are. You're such an inspiration. I mean, here and around the world, and we're so honored to be in your presence. So thank you. Thank you. Sometimes people ask me how I became involved in human rights, and I have 7 brothers and 3 sisters, and that gives you an appreciation of human rights at a very young age. I'll tell you a little bit about my childhood. I had an amazing childhood, an idyllic childhood in every way you can imagine. But there were a series of things that happened while I was growing up that were so full of confusion and so full of chaos that they threw my idyllic childhood into disarray in many ways. So I want to tell you a little bit about that. When I was 3 years old, my uncle was President John F. Kennedy. Has anyone heard of him? President Kennedy? Yes. Some of the front rows have. Okay, he was the President of the United States, and he was killed by an assassin. And that was it was horrible for our family and horrible for the world. And then when that happened when I was 3, 5 years later, Martin Luther King was killed in April of 1968, and he was a great hero in our country. And then 6 weeks later, my own father, whose name was Bobby Kennedy, was running for president at the time, and he too was killed by an assassin's bullet. And you can imagine the horror that caused for our family and for our country and for many people around the world. And there were a lot of people who tried to comfort us, but when you lose your parent at that young age, it leaves the work of love undone. And it was very, very, very hard. And then when I was in 5th grade, so maybe 11 years old, there was a family that was very close to my family. And they were at our house every weekend. And the girl who was my age told me that her father was beating up her mother. And I just didn't know what to do with that. I didn't know if this was a secret that I shouldn't tell anyone. I didn't know how to comfort and help my friend. I didn't know how to protect the mother who I loved so much. And I didn't know how to think about the father, this father who I loved too and who played with my brothers and sisters and I every single weekend. And it was so confusing. And then when I was in high school, 2 of my best friends were raped on a double date. And one of my very, very, very closest friends died. He was one of the first people in the United States to die of HIV/AIDS. Now, I tell you all of those things not so you feel sorry for me, but to say this, all of us face tragedy. Nobody is immune. And that's part of being human. We all face suffering. And we all have to move through that suffering in one way or the other. And this audience knows that more than any other audience you could talk to. Thank you. Now, when I was in college, I took an internship at Amnesty International. And I had a transformative experience there because somebody handed me a document called the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And when I read that document, I realized for the first time that everything that was insane and chaotic and tragic in my life had one thing in common. They were all violations of human rights. And I learned that there were people around the world who were using that document to create change and to assure that these things wouldn't happen to others and that I could join them and I could create change as well. And that changed my life. And I decided right then and there that I would devote my life to protecting human rights. And that's what I've done for the last 35 or whatever it is, even longer years, long time. But it's not enough, we felt, to do this for ourselves. We wanted to share this with others. So now we have a human rights education program which is taught to about 1 million students worldwide every year. And we tell the stories of human rights defenders and get students involved in human rights protection. So there are people like Elie Wiesel, who survived the Holocaust as a child. And he said, "My dream for the future is that your children won't have my past." And there are people like Archbishop Tutu, who is the great anti-apartheid leader in South Africa. And he said, "We don't have a God who says, 'Ah, gotcha.' We have a God who lifts us up and dusts us off and tells us to try it again." And to me, those are the 2 bookends of human rights. On the one hand, trying to stop the atrocities, and on the other hand, having this faith in humanity that we can call forth our better angels even under the worst of circumstances. Now, in the human rights world, I have seen 3 different kinds of courage, because if you look at people working in human rights, they're facing imprisonment and torture and death for basic rights most of us take for granted. And they're the bravest people on earth. And so there's basically 3 different types. The vast majority of them are people who come from oppressed communities and stand up against the oppressor, stand up with their community against the oppressor. So that would be like Nelson Mandela in South Africa. Okay, are you with me? Okay. The second group are Defenders Without Borders. And those are people who go help out a situation in someplace far away. So that would be an Italian going to work in Rwanda. Okay? The third group you almost never see in the adult world. And those are defenders, that's what I would call moral courage. That's somebody who's willing to stand up to their friends and their family and their colleagues and say, what we are doing is wrong, and we have to stop it. And that takes enormous courage because they could be ostracized for doing that. Now, you almost never see that in the adult world. But if you think about it, that is what the adult world tells middle and high school students they should be doing when they face bullying, right? We say, well, just tell them it's wrong, or tell them you won't laugh at a joke, or tell them you're not going to participate in that kind of behavior. But that's a very, very difficult thing to do. Now, if you walk into almost any middle or high school in Italy and in the United States and in almost any European country, you will see written on the walls, or you will hear in cyberspace the words bitch or fatso or retard or some other kind of hate speech. And students are subjected to that maybe 10, 15, 20 times a day. And every time they see those words, they have to make a decision. And am I going to stand up, or am I going to go along with my friends? And each time they make that decision, it's like they're exercising a muscle. Am I going to exercise my stand-up muscle, or my go-along muscle? And each time they exercise one of those muscles, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And that becomes the go-to muscle. And that becomes what they do automatically. And that's what's happened in the adult world. We've exercised that one get along, go along muscle so many times that it's hard for us to say, wait a second, what we're doing is wrong. That's what we do with the Speak Truth to Power human rights education program, and we do this all over the world. But I want to say something that I learned today. What I learned today walking through San Patrignano is that there's a fourth form of courage. And this was very, very moving to me. And it's not the courage that goes into a battlefield. It's not the courage that is on a soccer field, a football field. It's not the courage to stand up to a government, but it's the courage to go inside yourself. It's the courage to go and find the demons inside and go deep into your heart, into your soul, into your memory, and think about, what did I do? How did I behave? What decision did I make that got me here today? How am I going to change my life going forward? And that's the strongest, most difficult, and most rare form of courage there is. And that's the form of courage that all of you have exercised every day. Because if you didn't exercise it, you would never have come here. And I just want to say, I work. Thank you. I work with people every day who risk their lives for their communities. And they are the Martin Luther Kings and Mahatma Gandhis of our day. And none of them are more courageous than the people in this room. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for all you're doing. for all you're showing to the world. I want to thank you for that, and I want to thank all the people of San Patrignano for your commitment and for your capacity to care and to show love. And I'd like to end with an exercise that we do with our students. Are you ready for that? Will you join me for something? Is that okay? All right. Okay, so we work sometimes in Darfur in Sudan, and Darfur is the part of Sudan that's the size of France. And the government for many, many years went on a massive killing spree, and they specifically targeted women. And the time that women were most targeted was when they were walking very far from home in order to get water. So in Sudan, there's a dry season about 10 months of the year. And so everybody prays for rain. They pray for rain. So today, we're going to do, in solidarity with the women of Sudan, a call for rain. Is that okay? Okay. So we need to start by practicing. Okay? There's a bunch of different parts. So the first part is this. You're very good at that. Okay, the second part, I have to put this mic down. Maybe I'll go over here. Do these work? Can you make this work? Okay, so the second part is this. Can you do this? Okay, good. Now the next one is this, just a little clap like that. Okay, very good. The next one is this. And the last one is, okay, you're very good. Now, we're going to divide the room into, let's see, maybe four parts. So this is the first part, there. Got it? Here's the first part. Here's the second part. In the middle. This is the third. Okay. I have to get the mic back. Okay, first, second, third, fourth. Now, we're gonna start over here, and the rain is going to move across the plain over to that side. You have to pay attention to what you're supposed to do, okay? Don't do what the other section is doing, it won't work, okay? Okay, is everybody ready? Okay, everybody stand up. Oh, we have to stand up. Come on, we need you all to stand up. Okay, do you remember the first part? Shh, 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 shh. Okay.
Da qui su sembra...
You seemed like a rehab community from up here. So let's imagine what could be done by Brunello Cucinelli. He will receive his award from Francesca. For having re-emphasized the importance of the association between a person's place of birth, life, and events through the creation of the Brunello and Federica Cucinelli Foundation, which works to support human values. Such a connection is understood as the relationship between people and the different activities that inspire human society. For the work done discreetly and coherently by the Foundation with a view to becoming, thanks to its effort, a noble part of Umbrian and Italian culture in the world, worthy of our country's tradition. For spreading a culture of study and research of modern artisanal humanism, aimed at the recovery of the authentic values of everyday practices in work, the family and recreational time. For the support and consideration given to the arts in all figurative, conceptual, musical, and stage expressions, as well as to amateur sporting activities as the Foundation for Social Relations, and the persuasion that all human expressions are a form of culture to be enhanced.
Tremava.
She was shaking as she read it. It was so sweet because I could see how involved and emotional she was as she read that. First of all, thanks from the bottom of my heart to all of those who are partners, the president, the organizations. Mrs. Marti, congratulations. Wonderful the work that you have done. Well, I'm not very young. I'm 62. But I was listening to Mrs. Kennedy and I was really moved. Congratulations, thank you. You really ran me through my life. You are a beautiful person. Congratulations to you. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, we could be here all night if I started talking. I would go to bed at 7, even in the summer. Why would I go to bed at 7? Do you know why? Because my father, from 7 to 10, at breakfast, in Tuscany, they would use the word babbo, so I would say good hello and have good work, and then I would go to bed. And so it was it was really a part of my childhood. In Italy, we are currently undergoing a renaissance. 30 or 40 years of a crisis of civilization, we are undergoing a renaissance. Spiritual, civic, religious, ethnic, and economic. And I think that in that sense, the Pope has been great. I think that he started this process of renaissance. As soon as he started his term as Pope, he mentioned the fact that we should not have any interference in the spirituality of others. And I think that this is a beautiful moment, a beautiful period. So this amazing award, I would like to dedicate it to Italy. This wonderful award that you gave to me, I would like to dedicate it to Italy. Italy, a country of a great people, an example of civilization, perhaps the best in the world. We are human beings of a great level of tolerance.
Abbiamo affrontato questa grande, chiamiamola, migrazione umana.
This great human migration, the greatest of humanity, we've done this in a very special way. We are sensitive. We are tolerant. We have a great amount of spirituality within us. So I should like to dedicate this award to all of the Italians, to those people who work with me, 1,500 that work, great craftsmanship, and I saw that here with you today. And you would see that in the crafts over the course of the last 30 years, perhaps we've undermined the dignity of that work, but we need to go back to and re-give that dignity. Lorenzo the Magnificent, he considered these great artists what they were, and for that. And I think that we are undergoing this renaissance of a similar level. Often we forget an amazing expression from Saint Augustine that says that those who are all-powerful, what are you going to send us? You will send us pain to teach us. So we must take pain and learn from it. That is our big teacher. It was a wonderful experience being here, and I'm very moved by what you do, and thank you.
È Letizia che mi ha portato qui.
Letizia brought me here.
Grazie Letizia.
Thank you. Wonderful, no? What do you think?
Io vorrei semplicemente
I should like to conclude our proceedings by just thanking all of you, yet again. Positive economy is something that will continue. Today we did wonderful things. Tomorrow we will have even more good things on our agenda, and we expect your enthusiasm to be there yet again tomorrow. And thank you again to Mrs. Kennedy, thank you again to Mr. Cucinelli, and thank you to Mrs. Antonelli, and thank you to all of the members of San Patriano. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.